All right, today we're gabbing with Jessi Ngatikaura from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, who has also partnered with RumChata recently. Jessi, season two just aired. The tea is still piping hot, and I'm thrilled to get some time with you before the reunion airs. So, Jessi, how are you feeling now that the season has been out for a month now?
Oh my gosh, the last few weeks have been such a whirlwind, and the weeks after the show airs always just feels like a fever dream. Like it's crazy when the audience sees what we went through, for so long, and your personal life becomes public. But it's been really fun seeing everyone's reactions to the show has been amazing. We're always shocked that it does so well, so it's just like a dream.
I hope you're not shocked going forward because it really is, I think, one of the most exciting shows out there. So before we get into it, the dirty soda thing, which I
Yes.
feel like that has become one of like sort of the breakout signature sort of touchstones of like Mormon adjacent culture that I feel like has stuck from this show. And I know that you
Yes.
you have this partnership that's sort of related to that. So tell me a little bit about that and what it's been like kind of for audiences to really latch on to that idea.
It's so funny because in Utah specifically, dirty soda is just such a normal trend and it's a part of our everyday lives. So to see, the whole world kind of take this on, like we just went to Europe and did a press tour and they were like having dirty soda bars for us. And we were like, what is this?
Amazing.
But it's really cool. And I'm excited to partner with RumChata because it's like a grown-up twist on the dirty soda trend, which is so on brand for me because I'm the one on the show that does drink and it's just very fitting. So I'm excited to kind of take that dirty soda trend and kind of like knock it up a little bit and make it even better.
What's it like, being at some of these events and hanging with this group when you are one of the only people who does imbibe?
I feel like it's very interesting because in Mormon culture, not everyone drinks. Like it's like a big no-no. And so being the only one that does drink on the cast is interesting. There's a few other girls that do, but I feel like I was the first one to bring it to cameras and actually like explore that. So yeah, it's definitely like I'm the black sheep of the group a little bit.
All right, so I was just listening to one of your interviews that you did in promoting the season, and you said that the reunion that we're all kind of really
Yes.
pumped about was filmed before you saw the season, before it came out, before anybody did press, which kind
Yes.
of it kind of bummed me out a little bit that we're not going to get sort of that extra part of the
Same.
conversation. Yeah. What is there something that like has popped up since then that you would have liked to address at the reunion that you weren't able to?
So much, yeah, because we lived it, and so we know what we experienced and what we wanted to talk about, but it was so different seeing the show afterwards because then we saw what actually made it and what the audience's reactions were to certain things. So I feel like my behavior towards Jen, like me and her had hashed that out in real life, and there's so much more to that conversation, things that they didn't really show that I didn't know were going to show, right? So I wish I would have like known a little more about that. But I feel like season three, people will understand a little more context and
Okay.
probably more questions will be answered then. So at least you guys get more content than just the reunion. You got more episodes coming. So
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it looks like you guys can just continued the drama. But
yes.
one of the biggest sort of arcs for you in this season and kind of for the season overall was, you go from being best friends with Demi to you guys having this falling out over multiple
Yeah.
things. It wasn't over just one thing. Um, and I think what was really interesting about it for me is that like you were able to talk about contract negotiations and really break down that fourth wall and like acknowledge that you're on the show and all those different things.
Yeah.
Did Was any part of you surprised that that made it into the show for that reason, or do you know that you're allowed to sort of
Oh my
address all of
gosh.
that?
Yes. So the thing with our show is they just, when we have cameras rolling, they just let it happen. Like they're not going to stop us because it's real life. But in my head, like specifically that dinner in Arizona where we're all talking about the contracts at the restaurant, I think I kept saying to them, I'm like, you guys, this is going to get cut. Like, what are we doing? Why are we talking about this? Like, I genuinely thought that would get cut. So
Wow.
for me, I didn't give it much energy. And I think you kind of see that because I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, I just kind of let it blow over because I didn't think it was even relevant. But knowing now that they let us break the fourth wall, I think it's really interesting because the audience then, like you guys aren't dumb. Like the audience isn't stupid. They know cameras are around. So I think it's actually kind of cool that we're talking about the reality of the reality show because it makes it even more real.
I completely agree. And I think that like it acknowledges what the audience knows, but also it's something that other shows would be wise to do because I just think it's that next frontier.
Yes.
And you guys are sort of pushing that boundary in a really it's an interesting thing to hear about. I mean, I've watched a million
Yeah.
reality shows. I've never heard about contract negotiations on a show
No,
before.
I thought for sure they would like either downplay it or cut it. So I was happy to see that the full story was told because I was thinking like, oh, in press interviews, if they ask me about it, I want to be honest, right? So I was really glad they let that narrative be what happened. And it's true that like in this world, the more you get into it, contract negotiations, podcasts, and interviews we all do, it creates drama in real life. And so it's good that we can talk about that on the show because it's part of what
Yeah.
happens.
Is there anything in that situation, because there was a lot of back and forth, that you feel like still is not clear that you would like to, clear up?
A little bit. I've heard recently Demi has said a few things like, well, all the girls felt this way. I'm just the one who kind of like fell on the sword. That's not true. The other girls were interested in talking about contract negotiations, and they were definitely a part of the conversation, being like, yeah, we deserve more money. But the minute she said, like, well, if Jesse's off, then we all get more money, they were like, no, 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 no. Like, I wouldn't want to kick a friend off. And that's when they all backed off. So I feel like since she got a lot of heat for that, she's definitely tried to like spin it a
Spread
certain
the
way.
blame a little
And
bit. Yeah.
yeah, and that downplays what she actually did to me. And I was super hurt by it. So I'm like, no, 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 no. You got to
Right.
take the heat for that one.
Right. Right. And the other sort of portion of that we saw on the show of your fallout from Demi was this comment that she made to Taylor about her telling her not to go to Jay-Z Styles to get certain, to get her hair done. And I'm
Hmm.
curious, we never heard about sort of when that comment was made. At least we didn't hear about that as viewers. Do you know when that was made? Like, was that
Yeah.
during one of your fallouts, or was that talk to me about
No,
that?
I
Okay.
know exactly when it was made. It was last June, and we were best friends. And on the show, she was like, well, we weren't best friends yet. No, she had spent Easter with my family out of town. We had spent every day together. So we were very close when it happened. So hearing that and hearing her downplay that as well and like how close we were, I was like, oh, good to know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, we mentioned the upcoming 10 episodes because you had been renewed for 20 episodes. We know there's 10 to come. And obviously that teaser at the end of the season, it focuses a lot on you and this whole Marciano
Yes.
thing after Layla sat down with him. I guess first, what was your reaction to seeing that Layla sit down? Because
Yeah.
we're not going to hear about that on the
Um,
reunion.
yeah, that was crazy. We do touch on it a little bit at the
Okay.
reunion, which is going to be great. But I will say I knew about it before. So luckily I didn't have to like see it in real time and find out that way. But seeing it is so different than hearing about it. Like seeing the way he talked about me and things he said, I was like, oh,
Mm,
amazing. This sucks. So it was really hard. But I will say reality TV is hard on relationships, friendships, every relationship in your life, to be honest. So I am excited to show the audience a little more of a vulnerable side of me and to showcase that this world does bring crazy things into your life and it changes a lot of things. But also, you guys have seen Taylor be so open and honest, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that from me next season.
I think that's sort of a silver lining of a shitty situation. Maybe you could
Yeah,
say, yeah, right.
yeah, being able to share your story and hopefully someone can relate to it, because there's so much more to it than what was shown.
Absolutely. I guess you obviously can't say much about what we're going to see from that situation, but is there anything you can tease? Because it was that's an intense teaser for you to have to like
Oh
sit. And
yeah,
I know you did that TikTok of like I'll be able to share my side when I can share my side. But is it hard
yeah.
to sit? Is it hard to sit on that and not speak to it?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think that's the hardest part about filming reality is your real life is happening, but reality TV is usually a few months behind. So you can't really blow storylines or talk about things that are going on in real time until the show comes out. Luckily, everything will be answered because we filmed all of it. But I would say next season, people will be shocked at how different it is from the first two seasons. I think there's still going to be the element everyone loves. Like it's still going to be, like the things you fell in love with, but it is like another level. And I can't even describe it. I mean, obviously I haven't seen it, but I lived it and it was wild. So I look forward to sharing more of my story and seeing what the audience's reaction is to that.
Okay. And the last question about this before we move on is, Sheena from Vanderpump Rules did a big, long podcast about her experience with you guys in LA.
Yes.
What was your reaction to seeing
Yeah.
her go so in deep about that?
When I saw that, I was super disappointed because we are friends, and I was like, "Oh, I wish you would have come to me first." But I will say she didn't have the whole story. So after it came out, and actually she did warn me about it, so I was grateful. Like she texted me and told me it was coming out. But I did send her a 10-minute voice memo after the podcast explaining my side of things because there were so many things she didn't have right that she didn't know. And after that, she was like, I am so glad you told me this. Like, I needed to know that. So I wish she wouldn't have spoken about it, obviously, before hearing my side. But I'm glad that now she has it, and maybe in the future that'll be cleared up. But yeah, that was surprising as well.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like, I mean, you're being such a good sport about. I feel like your cast in particular is very. You take things in stride very well, and I'm
Oh,
curious,
thanks.
is that something that you have learned over these first two seasons, or is that really natural for you? Because that's not everybody's like that in your position.
Yeah, maybe the show has helped with that, but I think being a business owner, I've owned my business for 9 years now, and I've had friends come and go, I've had employees come and go, I've had drama within my business. Just that's kind of how it is when you have like a public business. And I feel like I've learned that. Like on to the next, there's always going to be turnover, there's always going to be people screwing you over. You have to just move forward. And I think I see my business and the show as like professional atmosphere, like it's my job. And so I think that's why I treat it that way. Yes, there's drama and there's things like that. But when I speak about other people, like I'll tell the truth and it might be dramatic, but I also want to be professional and it's part of my job. So I just would feel weird if I was like not that way. But maybe I'll learn not to be so forgiving in the future.
Please don't. I was just stay exactly the way you are.
Thank
No, but
you.
I admire it because that can't be easy, but
Yeah.
it's nice to hear that you can take it like that.
Thank you.
Before this upcoming group of episodes, I don't know when we're going to get them, but is there a particular friendship or relationship that you're going to have that might surprise people, or development with somebody in particular that you can sort of tease for us?
I would say maybe it's not super surprising, but I think you do see me and Taylor relating a lot next season. I go through a lot of things that she's been through and that I was able to talk to her about. Just the fact that she was so vulnerably sharing her relationship on TV and her ups and downs. I think I'm going to be in a position like that. So you see me venting to her a lot, getting advice from her, relating to her. I don't know how much you'll see, but that has been something that has
Okay.
developed over the last few months.
Amazing. Well, Jessi, we are speaking because of your RumChata partnership, and I know that
Yes.
as part of this, there's some sort of contest element too, right? Where people can sort of win a trip to Salt Lake City and get a makeover by
Yes.
you. Tell me more about that.
I'm so excited. So basically, someone can win, and I think it's they bring two friends with them, and it's kind of like a spiked housewife experience. And I do feel like Jay Z Styled is kind of like a cornerstone of Secret Lives. It's one of the only places you can go from the show that is like a place you can visit, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to bring people there. We're going to be doing a little fun experience, and it's going to have like merch and little gifts, and I'm going to be giving them a little hair makeover and just hanging out with them. So it's going to be a really fun thing, and I'm excited for people to enter.
That's so special. And it's like, I think you're right that like, I mean, Salt Lake City it's developing all these little spots with Secret Lives and with Housewives where people can come and
Yes.
they can do a reality TV tour of the Salt Lake
Yes.
City area now.
And I'm just happy to be a part of that.
Love it. And I will say when towards the end of the season, there was that scene where you're at Jay Z Styles and there's that whole wall of hair extensions. And I was like enamored by that wall. I thought I was like, wow, like you have it all at Jay Z Styles.
Yeah. Yes. I actually so that's our retail store, and I call it the hair candy land. There's just hair and hair and hair. And it's funny because that's our retail store, and our warehouse is even bigger. My whole building is 15,000 square feet, and it just keeps going.
Hmm. Well, next time I find myself in the area, I will be going to Jay Z Styles.
Yeah. Yeah. Come get your extensions.
And before we sign off here, Jessi, is there anything else? I mean, because again, the press cycle and the TikTok cycle around you guys changes every single day and week. Is there anything else out
Yeah.
there that you'd like to clear up or address that you feel like is floating out in the ether?
Um, you guys see a lot of drama within our group online, and it's funny because we will all be in a good spot, and then someone will post a video, and then it'll all go to shit. And a lot of people say, like, this is just drama for the show. And I just want to address that as embarrassing as it is, it's all real and it sucks. But it keeps you guys entertained.
It does. It does. Well, Jessi, I really appreciate the time today. Congrats
Yeah.
on all the success of the show, Jay Z Styles, and for this RumChata partnership. It's really exciting how much you have going on.
Yes,
So,
I'm so excited for RumChata. Stay tuned. There's going to be a
yes,
lot of fun things coming.
perfect. Perfect. Thanks so much. And we'll
Thank
chat again
you.
soon.
Yes. So nice to meet you. Thank you so
You
much.
too. I want to gab.